Okay, here's a quick reminder. Only we, you and I, and all the other humans that are awake and awakening, only we can shift the current timelines. Only we can shift the current human collective reality. And we have the ability to shift this. So what does that mean? It means that just because something is in our now reality, let's for instance talk about vaccines. Just because there is talk about a vaccine coming for COVID and it's going to look like this and like that and it's going to feel like this and all these horrific things about it or great things about it, right? Just because it is spoken about and it's in a reality and a timeline that we're in doesn't mean that that is the actual timeline that's going to unravel. You see, as a human collective and as an individual human in that human collective, you and I have the ability through our energetic frequency to jump out of that timeline. That's how powerful we are. We've been doing it as a human collective. We'll continue to do it. But the more that we understand that this is actually what we're doing, the more we will create the reality we want as a human collective. And the more of us that understand how to do this, the more we will create the reality we want. For instance, let's say that there are millions upon millions of humans that are holding a timeline where vaccines for this virus called COVID is unraveling, and that millions and millions and millions of us are holding this new timeline or higher timeline where there is no vaccine, where the vaccine does not appear in front of us. If millions upon millions of human bodies are holding that timeline, they're observing that timeline, they're seeing that timeline, they know that timeline is happening, we have the ability to pull the entire human collective into that timeline where the vaccine doesn't actually unravel in our reality. This is not magic. This is not a joke. This is not wishful thinking. This is understanding how you as an energetic being, me as an energetic being, and how the human collective works. And so what I want us to sort of start to focus on, or what I encourage us to start to focus on, is how you are creating your reality based on the timeline that you're focused on and the timeline that you're focused on for the human collective. How do you do this? 3 simple steps. 1, you observe what you are paying attention to right now, which is your timeline that you're looking at. By the way, there are multiple timelines, okay? So what timeline are you paying attention to? Let's just take the vaccine example. Oh my God, vaccines. Oh my God, vaccines. Oh my God, vaccines. That's the timeline that you're observing and paying attention to. So that's the first thing, that's the first step in being able to start to really move into a higher timeline and pull the human collective in there. 1, what timeline are you in? What are you paying attention to? In step 1, once you observe and you know what timeline that you're looking at, which is what am I focused on, then ask yourself, what are you believing to be a truth in that timeline? Oh, vaccines are going to unravel, they're going to hurt me, they're going to be bad, blah, blah, blah. Vaccines are great, I can't wait to take them, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Ask the question, what are the truths that you're holding on to or believing? Ask the question, why? Why are you believing those? Sometimes as humans, we just believe because we're told to believe, instead of asking the question of, why am I believing this? Then ask yourself, do you want to believe this? Do you want this to be your truth? We also believe as humans that we have to just accept the timeline that we're on. And as quantum humans, as multidimensional quantum beings, we don't have to accept anything. That's the magic and beauty of being energy. We do not have to accept anything. We can shift everything. So 1, what are you believing to be your truth? 2, why are you believing that to be your truth? And 3, do you want that to be your truth? If you answer yes, I want this to be your truth, my truth, then you stay focused on the timeline. If you say to yourself, no, I don't want this to be my truth, then you start to change your perspective and you start to change your timeline, which goes to step number 2, which is choose a different timeline. Choose a different timeline. Shift your timeline, which goes to step number 3. How do you do that? What do you wish to see in your now? Go beyond the timeline that you're focused on, or the multiple timelines that you may see in your physical reality. Go beyond that into the higher timeline that may not be physically in your timeline now, but it is an absolute truth. It's a reality. It exists because everything exists in the quantum field. Everything is a possibility. Everything is a possibility in the quantum field. It's a matter of whether we, as a human collective, can energetically pull ourselves into the vibration and frequency of that timeline. So if you want to see a timeline where there are no vaccines for COVID, then you hold that timeline. You see that higher timeline. That's step number 3. You see it. We're free. We're healthy. We're whole. We're sovereign. There's medicine that we can take if we get sick, if we choose to, but we don't have to. There's freedom. There's choice. Do you understand what we can do? This is the power of who we are. We have the power to shift the human collective into higher timelines, which is higher frequency timelines, which is more abundance and peace and love and unity and joy and choice and sovereignty and truth, if I even said that, right? And the ability to choose what is for our highest good. So, again, the steps to be able to shift our human collective into new timelines, higher timelines that are in this now is 1, observe what you are focusing on. Observe the timeline you are paying attention to. And when you do that, you ask yourself these 3 questions. 1, what are you believing to be the truth? Question 2, why are you believing it? Question 3, do you want this truth to be your truth? Because you actually have a choice. We are not victims to this reality or any reality. Once you understand and answer those questions, if you decide that you want to change your timeline, you choose. You choose a new timeline to focus on. You see beyond the timeline that is trying to pull you into it. You go beyond it. You go above it. And 3, you see, you feel, you know that timeline, and you focus on it. You observe it, you see it, you focus on it. So that regardless of what timeline you're standing on right now, regardless of what you are inundated in, all these truths that may or may not unravel, we have to see beyond the limiting truths that are being thrown at us right now on an energetic level and on a physical level, so that we can energetically move beyond them and create our reality, create our higher timelines, create what we want as higher dimensional beings, living in higher states of consciousness. And we do that by observing where we are focused, choosing to move beyond it, and focus on where we're going or where we are creating or the next now moment. That is how we shift an entire human collective into higher timelines. We are already doing it. Let's do it more. Let's keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's working. It's working. It's working. I promise. Do not believe that only what is thrown to you in your physical reality and what you are being inundated with is the only reality, because if we do that, we will allow it to be. Let's choose a different reality and stay focused on it. It's miraculous what we have done, what we are doing, and what we're going to continue to do. We have this power. I love you. Thank you for being here. You are courageous. You are light in form. And you're amazing. Lots of love.